Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So, inshallah, today the fifth part of Surah Yusuf alayhi salam. Last time we stopped after Yusuf alayhi salam was appointed to be the storehouse of the land in the king's land. So just before I start this, I want to make some clarifications about the Yusuf alayhi salam. When he was in the Zulaykha's house and the Aziz's house, he did actually say that Allah Azza wa Jalla says, وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ وَهَمَّ بِهَا لَوْلَا أَن رَأَى بُرْهَانَ رَبِّهِ. As in, he actually had that motivation and what he was going to go for her, but Allah Azza wa Jalla protected him. So thus after that, when he went to pray and he said, oh Allah, if you don't protect me, I might fall and do that. So again, he's a human, even though he's a prophet, but he didn't do it for the first time, and Allah Azza wa Jalla protected him not to do it the second time, so he went to prison. And another thing that I wanted to clarify is the king's dream. The king's dream was قال الملك إني أرى 7 بقرات سمان يأكلهن 7 عجاف و7 سنبلات خضر وأخرى يابسات يا أيها الملأ أفتوني في رؤياي إن كنتم من رؤيا تعبرون. The king's dream was actually that he said, indeed I have seen 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 lean and 7 green spikes of grain and others dry, which indicates that there were, that's how Yusuf alayhi salam interpreted it, as in they'll have 7 years of dryness and they have to save their fruit for the next 7 years where Allah will be giving them a lot of fruits and vegetables. So after that, we'll carry on from where we stopped last time. So Yusuf alayhi salam now is appointed. Yusuf alayhi salam is doing what? He's the storehouse. He's in charge of the storehouses of the land, and then his brothers, just like they did for the first, just like they usually do, because they live in a village. The village will send their men to go to Egypt and get some fruits and vegetables for the actual for the village. So Yaqub alayhi salam, Yusuf's dad, sent his 11 brothers. Of course, Yusuf alayhi salam wasn't there because they told their dad that he died. So his 11 brothers go to Egypt, and the way they used to do their business back in these days is that they used to bring their goods and swap it with something else, and that's how they used to do their trading. So they got what they used to do in their village. They went to Yusuf alayhi salam. They didn't recognize that he was Yusuf. Allah says, وَجَاء إِخْوَةُ يُوسُفَ وَدَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ فَعَرَفَهُ وَهُمْ لَهُ مُنْكِرُونَ. So they went into Yusuf alayhi salam. They didn't recognize him, but he did. He knew that these are his brothers. So Yusuf alayhi salam had that plan. He knew that they will come eventually. So he planned something, and this plan was وَلَمَّا جَهَزَهُم بِجَهَازِهِمْ قَالَ ائْتُونِي بِأَخٍ لَكُم مِنْ أَبِيكُمْ. So usually they get asked how many people live in your village, how many like offsprings do you have and siblings. So they mentioned 11, but there were only 10 because Yaqub alayhi salam kept his brother Binyamin, which was the second beloved after Yusuf alayhi salam. So there were 10, and they said, well, we're actually 11. So Yusuf alayhi salam's plan was, he told them, if you want me to give you next time, you have to show me that you're actually 11 and bring your brother. So this is Yusuf alayhi salam's plan. So, and he told them, can't you see that I will give you, if you are truthful, I will give you what you deserve for your camels to carry on back to your village. So, and Yusuf alayhi salam did emphasize saying, فَإِن لَمْ تَأْتُونِي بِهِ فَلَا كَيْ لَكُمْ عِنْدِي وَلَا تَقْرَبُونَ. Next time, if you come 10, even though you told me that you're actually 11, I'm not going to give you anything, and there will be no measure for you from me. So they thought, we have to go and persuade our dad to bring Binyamin. So Yusuf alayhi salam told his guards, take the goods that they bought with them and put them back into their camels. So they thought, okay, we'll give them this and we'll take the fruits and vegetables. But Yusuf alayhi salam told his guards, no, don't take anything from them. So Yusuf's brothers said, okay, we'll speak to our dad and we'll see what we can do for next time. After Yusuf alayhi salam told his guards to do what he told them to do, Yusuf alayhi salam's brothers went back to their dad. They went to their dad and said, "Oh, Dad, this time we were refused. Well, for next time we will be refused to be given any fruits or vegetables, except if you let our brother Binyamin come with us." And of course, Yaqub alayhi salam's response was, قال هل آمنكم عليه إلا كما أمنتكم على أخيه من قبل. Do you think I will trust you this time, just like I trusted you with his brother before? Meaning Yusuf alayhi salam trusted you with Yusuf. Look what happened to Yusuf. Now you want me to trust you with Binyamin? So Yaqub alayhi salam says, فَاللَّهُ خَيْرٌ حَافِظًا وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. And all I believe is in Allah. And Allah is the greatest protector. وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. He's the most merciful. So Yusuf's brothers went to their camels and tried to take everything out, and they realized that the things that they came with is actually back with them. And Yusuf and his people didn't take anything. So they went back to their dad and they said, قالوا يا أبانا ما نبغي. What do we want? What more would we ask for? The thing that we went, they didn't even take it so we can keep it for us. Yusuf this person gave us these fruits we can use for us and for our family. And if you send Binyamin with us next time, we'll have an extra camel, because Binyamin would come with his camel and we'll have a load for Binyamin. So it's a win-win situation. But will Yaqub alayhi salam accept it? Will Yaqub alayhi salam go for it? Yaqub alayhi salam response was, قال لن أرسله معكم حتى تؤتوني موثقا من الله. The only way I will send Binyamin with you this time is if you promise by Allah that you will bring him back to me, unless you should be surrounded. And when they had given their promise, Yaqub alayhi salam asked them to promise and swear by Allah that they will make sure that they come back with Binyamin unless they're surrounded. Let's say someone tries to kill them, all of them get killed, not Binyamin specifically. So they will try their best to keep Binyamin alive and back to their dad, Yaqub alayhi salam. So they did promise their dad that, okay, we'll try our best to bring Binyamin and nothing will happen. Just not like Yusuf alayhi salam, and we'll leave him and then the wolf will come and eat him, even though that was a lie. So after they promised their dad, Yaqub alayhi salam asked his kids for a favor, and he said, وقال يا بني لا تدخلوا من باب واحد وادخلوا من أبواب متفرقة. And when you go back to Egypt, do not enter from one gate, but enter from many other gates. And Yaqub alayhi salam said, وما أغني عنكم من الله شيء إن الحكم إلا لله عليه توكلت وعليه فليتوكل المتوكلون. So he says, I can't prevent you from anything that Allah wanted to happen, but I'm doing it for a reason. So the ulama interpreted this reason is that because there were 11 of them now, and they're a big group, people might give them hasad because they're a bunch of people. So Yaqub alayhi salam told them enter from different gates. So you don't, as a group, someone will see all 11 brothers together. That's something rare. So this might happen. The hasad might happen to you. So they listened to their dad. They did what their dad said to them. That's next time after they ran out of what they had. They went back to Egypt. They entered from what their dad told them. And then again they met Yusuf alayhi salam brother. And I did mention a few days ago about Yusuf alayhi salam and how when they took him from their dad first time, Allah Azza wa Jal told Yusuf alayhi salam that one day you will tell your brothers that about what they're about to do to you, and once you do, and the time that you will remind them, they won't recognize you. So here you go, this can actually link to this. So now they're back to their brother Yusuf for the second time with Binyamin this time. They don't know that it's his Yusuf. Yusuf alayhi salam knows that that's them and knew that they're missing Binyamin this time, and then they brought Binyamin. So they came to Yusuf alayhi salam, showed what they bought for Yusuf alayhi salam, and then Yusuf tried in a way or another to take Binyamin privately. And then he told Binyamin, I'm your brother Yusuf alayhi salam. So he did tell him that I'm your brother. Don't he will remember what they did to Yusuf alayhi salam, and that what the lie that they did to their dad. And he said to his brother, just stay calm and don't worry, I'll have a plan. فلما جهزهم, again, this is the Yusuf alayhi salam's second plan. First plan is to drag Binyamin. Second plan, now Binyamin is here. The siqaya, when they used to give these people their fruit and whatever they wanted, there used to be a siqaya, like a massive jug or something that they used to give the people with. This was made out of gold, and this was belonged to the king. So Yusuf alayhi salam told his guards, put it in Binyamin's bag, or Binyamin's belongings. So once they did, nobody of the brothers realized that this is what happened. So after that, they got what they wanted. They're about to leave. أذن مؤذن. Someone went somewhere high and shouted, "We are missing the king's, like the mug that the king used to give people." So they went to these people. Yusuf's brothers went to them and said, "What are you missing?" They told them, "We're missing this king's made out of gold." Yusuf's brothers said, "We actually came here for a favor, to get these fruits and vegetables. We're not here to do any corruption or steal." So Yusuf alayhi salam, this is one of the intelligence idea that Yusuf alayhi salam had. In Egypt's law, if someone does something bad, someone else can come and say, "Okay, I'll take the punishment." So instead of doing the punishment on the person that did a certain sin, you'll do it on the person who's willing to replace him. Whereas Yaqub, because Yaqub was a prophet and he had his own Sharia, Islamic Sharia that Allah Azza wa Jal told him, that's back in Palestine. This Sharia is whoever does something wrong, he and only he should be punished. Yusuf knew that this is the law that his dad follows, and he knew that his brothers follow this law. So he told his brothers, okay, if we actually find out who stole it, what do we do? And his brother said, whoever you find it, punish him and only him, no one else. So قالوا جزاؤه ما وجد في رحله فهو جزاؤه وكذلك نجزي الظالمين فبدأ بأوعيتهم. Yusuf alayhi salam plan was to start with his brother's belongings, not with Binyamin. So he checked all of them, and then finally he got to Binyamin's bag, opened it and found it. So he looked back at them and said, كنا ليوسف ما كان ليأخذ أخيه ما كان يأخذ أخاه في دين الملك إلا أن يشاء الله نرفع درجات من نشاء وفوق كل ذي علم. So his brothers' reply, and this is really something sad about his brothers, their reply was, they found out that Binyamin has this gold, let's say, mug, or, yeah. So they said, well, this is not a surprise, because his brother has told him before. And Yusuf alayhi salam was right there. And they meant, when they saw Binyamin stealing, well, he wasn't Binyamin who stole, but when they saw this in Binyamin's bag, they said his brother has stolen before, so it's not a surprise, because Binyamin and Yusuf are from the same mother. So Yusuf was there, and they didn't know that this was Yusuf. And the story behind this is, when Yusuf alayhi salam was young, like one of the narrations was that someone in the village used to worship idols. So Yusuf, when he was young, he went to this person who used to worship idols. He stole his idol and broke it, and his brothers knew about it. So now they tried to link it. Well, if Binyamin stole, his brother Yusuf has stolen an idol from someone. He did it from, like his idea was he shouldn't be worshipping this idol. He should be worshipping Allah, and he was really, really little back then. So how they related to Yusuf, they were really cruel. So Yusuf was there, and Yusuf got really upset, but again, he didn't say, "Oh, I'm Yusuf." So he said, for you to mention his brother, that just shows how cruel you are. And then Yusuf's brother said, "Okay, how about you take one of us instead of taking him? Because his dad is old." They said, قالوا يا أيها العزيز إن له أبا شيخا كبيرا. His dad is really old. فخذ أحدنا مكان. How about you take one of us 10 instead of Binyamin? Yusuf alayhi salam said, but our plan, or our agreement was, whoever we find with it, we only take him and no one else. So they realized that there's no way Binyamin now will stay in Egypt. But we promised our dad that we will try our best to come back with Binyamin. So they left the place, left Egypt. They were walking back, and then the oldest, فلما استيأسوا منه خلصوا نجية قال كبيرهم, the oldest brother, said to them, and usually the oldest one takes all the responsibility of his younger brothers. So he felt all the guilt of what they did to Yusuf and now to Binyamin. So he says, ألم تعلموا أن أباكم قد أخذ عليكم موثقا من الله ومن قبل? Didn't our dad we actually promised our dad that we'll try our best to bring back Binyamin? And in addition to what we have done to Yusuf before, I will. So this older brother said, I will not leave Egypt. I will not leave where I am now until my dad actually forgive me. So you 9 now again. They started with 12 with Yusuf. Yusuf, well, they said to Yusuf he died, and then Binyamin, and then the old one said, I'm not going back to my dad. I can't face my dad with all this guilt. Like, he took all the responsibility and said, okay, you 9 go back to my dad. I can't go and face my dad. And if my dad forgives me, come back and tell me, and I can go and speak to him. Otherwise, I can't. He doesn't have that courage. So, فلن أبرح الأرض حتى يأذن لي أبي أو يحكم الله لي وهو خير الحاكمين. And if my dad doesn't forgive me, I'll stay here until I die. That's how responsible he was. So he told them, go back to our dad and say to him the truth. Say to him what happened. فقولوا يا أبانا إن ابنك سرق. And tell them that Binyamin has stolen. Because that's what they think. That's what appeals to them. So he says, go back to that our dad and say that Binyamin has سرق وما شهدنا إلا بما علمنا وما كنا للغيب حافظين. And all we're saying is what we saw. This is what we saw. Binyamin, well, it appears like Binyamin stole. And if you don't trust us, again, they used to go in groups. So when they went, the 10 of them, the 11 of them left the village, and many other people. Usually a village sent all their men to go and do that and come back for the families. So that when this old brother said, go back to the dad and tell him that all we saw is that Binyamin has stolen, that's why they kept him, and tell him that if he doesn't believe us, ask the people that came with us and ask the people that are with us. Whereas last time, when they told them about Yusuf alayhi salam, their response was, Dad, you won't believe us even if you were saying the truth. And so they knew they were lying, so they tried to find a way out. But this time, they knew that they were saying the truth, but they're trying to show that they're not lying. So, Yaqub alayhi salam, now imagine Yaqub, first he lost Yusuf. And then when he kept Binyamin, they came to him and said, let's go for Binyamin. And they took Binyamin. And Binyamin's not back, he's in Egypt. And the oldest one refused to come back. So from 12, they dropped to 9. And imagine the sadness in Yaqub alayhi salam. So Yaqub alayhi salam says, قال بل سوت لكم أنفسكم أمرا فصبر جميل. So Yaqub says, rather, your souls have enticed you to something, so patience is most fitting. Again, Yaqub alayhi salam, just like what happened when Yusuf was gone, he says, great patience. And all he's doing is being patient. فصبر جميل. عسى الله أن يأتيني بهم جميعا. Again, this is the full faith that Yaqub alayhi salam, and believe that in Allah. He says, عسى الله أن يأتيهم جميعا. Perhaps Allah would bring them to me all together. So he still have believed that Yusuf isn't dead, even though he was told that he's dead. He still believed that Yusuf is not dead, and he still believed that Allah is capable of bringing them all back together. So that's that strong faith that he has. إنه هو العليم الحكيم. Indeed, Allah is the all-knowing, the all-wise. Then Yaqub alayhi salam, and this ayah, Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu used to recite it, and he used to love reciting Surah Yusuf in Fajr, and he would cry and cry that when he carries on reading the Quran, you won't realize that he's reading Quran, because he's weeping that you can't listen to the Quran words anymore. This ayah, it's really strong. وتولى عنهم وقال يا أسفا على يوسف وابيضت عيناه من الحزن فهو كظيم. This is what Yaqub alayhi salam does. So he turned away from them and said, oh, my sorrow over Joseph. Again, out of all of this, he still remembers Yusuf alayhi salam, and he's how painful missing Yusuf alayhi salam. And his eyes became white from grief, and that's when he actually turned blind. For he was really, really sad of what just happened. And that's where he started crying, and he turned actually blind. And this is a point that we're going to go back to, inshallah, later. قالوا تالله تفتأ تذكر يوسف. So his kids say, are you really still remembering Yusuf? We told you he died. How can you act like the oldest one is gone now, Binyamin is gone, and you remember Yusuf, who was gone years and years back? So So that's what they say to him. How come you still remember Yusuf? If you carry on doing that, you will actually die doing it, because you keep remembering it and crying and crying and crying, and you will have a really sad life. You should just forget about Yusuf alayhi salam. So what he says, قال إنما أشكو, and this is a verse that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu used to recite and cry a lot. قال إنما أشكو بثي وحزني إلى الله, and it's a lesson for us to learn. قال إنما أشكو بثي وحزني إلى الله وأعلم من الله ما لا تعلمون. So Yaqub alayhi salam's response was, I only complain of my suffering and my grief to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He doesn't go to people and start telling them what something bad happened to them. He goes back to Allah, because if there's someone that has the solution, has the way out, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not the people. So, and I know from Allah that which you do not know. So he still believes in Allah, and this might indicate that he knows that Yusuf is still alive. And even though you think, oh, Yusuf is gone, Yusuf might be dead, no, I believe that he's still alive. So what would Yaqub alayhi salam now do out of all of this? Now he's missing from 12 kids to 9 left only. He's crying, he turned blind. What is Yusuf doing with his brother Binyamin alayhi salam? What about the old one? All of these questions will be answered inshallah tomorrow. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Thank you for listening. Any question?